Sometimes you have to tell people what the business is.
Uh-huh.
Because,
Sometimes donkeys are just donkeys. And
that's right.
Our next guest knows what a donkey looks like and how donkeys need to be handled.
Well, I'll tell you what, 40 years ago today,
yes,
a donkey movie was, well, it might have been released, but the movie that I was referring to was certainly not a donkey movie. Rocky. The original Rocky was released 40 years ago today.
No kidding.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, they had some Rockies after that were kind of cheesy.
Yeah, Rocky V was awful.
And by cheesy, I don't mean bad. Like, Rocky III with Mr. T.
I loved Rocky III.
Well, and again, I liked it, but it was cheesy. I mean, Rocky IV and Drago and everything.
By the way,
if he dies, he dies.
Okay, you're un-American if you don't like Rocky IV, though.
Yeah, dude.
Well, no, but I mean, again,
the soundtrack alone.
The soundtrack was awesome. I actually bought the soundtrack.
John Parr.
Yes.
Yeah. Cheesy doesn't mean bad, but it was cheesy.
But there was
but it doesn't compare to Rocky 1. Rocky 1 was a great movie.
It was a great movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's one of the few franchises, though, that, I mean, they've gone into, Rocky 7, basically, Rocky
just
Balboa.
awful. Yeah.
No. Okay, I have a different opinion. See,
I
think Rocky Balboa, the one about Apollo Creed's son, they're great movies. They're great. I mean, I thought they ended it all with Rocky V, but to come back with Rocky Balboa and then the movie about Apollo Creed's son, I thought was awesome.
Man loves
All right,
man loves Creed.
We'll agree to disagree. Yeah, Creed, that's right, it was Creed. It was just simply Creed. Yeah, I loved it. Now, what's your favorite of the Rocky movies? And just one?
Rocky.
Just the original
Great
Rocky.
movie.
Okay.
Great movie.
Now,
what about Rocky?
Go ahead.
We have been there.
Yeah.
Steve and I have run those steps.
Oh, yeah.
And
where Rocky ran up.
I have too, actually.
And we're going to, you did it too. I'm going to tell you though, Steve and I did it after Margarita Night.
Oh. No, I didn't take that challenge.
We love us some Philly and some margarita.
Well, I was in the 8th grade at the time, so a little bit too young to have the margaritas.
Yeah, you better not have been drinking.
Yeah.
What's your excuse this morning? All right, so we need to talk sports.
Yes.
Before we all get in trouble.
All right, let's, it was weird, y'all, not having a Saints game this weekend.
Yeah.
I know they had it on Thursday. But, of course, this is Saints-Rams week, and there's not an opponent that Stevie P hates more than the Los Angeles Rams.
And not back in Los Angeles. That's exactly it.
Yes.
I mean, and I hate the Rams because, everybody hates the Falcons. And don't get me wrong. I certainly have no love for the Falcons. They're in the NFC South. I don't like anybody in the NFC South. But when I was growing up in the 70s, the Rams won the division every year. The NFC West, they won it every year. Mm-hmm. And of course, you hate teams that win it every year. But from 1972 to 1980, they won the division every year. They kept the Saints out of the playoffs in 1983 when Mike Lansford kicked the field goal. Broke the heart of all Saints fans. Yeah. So I hate the Rams. They moved to St. Louis in 1995, and now they back in Los Angeles. Just awful.
Now, Steve, you've been holding out on us because you started your series this week with the Saints and the Rams memorable game. Memorable game number one is, of course, the Saints getting everything started in 1967.
Yes.
With the big kickoff return.
With the big kickoff return. John Gilliam returns the opening kick for a touchdown. I mean, the place went, from what I hear, just ballistic. You can kind of hear it on the from the audio and video. Unfortunately, the Saints didn't score another touchdown after that. But what a way to kick off! I mean, can you imagine that? Yeah. You get an expansion franchise, you get NFL football in New Orleans, and everybody's excited for the opening kick. And John Gilliam returns the opening kick for a touchdown. Unbelievable.
Now, Steve, like I said, don't hold back. Like, I know you write these for ESPN 1420, but make sure you're cross-posting that to us.
I got you.
We got to put that. We got to put that on because it's a look at history. It's all throughout the week, right?
All throughout the week.
I love it. I love it.
Tomorrow we'll do the first win by the Saints over the Rams.
Nice. Yeah, they can't be on. I know the one had a positive beginning with this, but the Saints went on and lost that game. Okay?
Oh, and like I said, the worst one. I think we'll do it Thursday. The 1983 game was when Mike Lansford kicked the field goal and just ruined Christmas for me in 1983. Just awful.
Well,
but of course the Saints got their first ever playoff win.
That's where I was going.
Over the Rams. Yes.
Can't wait to read that one.
Yes.
All right, so let's move on from the Saints to the Tigers. I guess the honeymoon's now over, as all the LSU fans want to fire Coach O now after they lost to Florida. I know.
Well, that was not a good situation. LSU dominated the game except on the scoreboard. Couldn't get it done in the red zone. They outgained Florida by over 150 yards. I agree with you, though. You look at Coach O right now, and he got 2 losses. They're playing Texas A&M. Mm-hmm. That can go either way. It really could. I thought Coach Orgeron would have had a really good chance at the job. Mm-hmm. Had he won the Florida game. It really, LSU should have won. Again, they dominated Florida every place except the scoreboard. Yeah. Florida was injured. LSU playing at home. That's a game that you have to win. I was pulling for him because I want Coach O to get the job, but it's kind of it is what it is situation. I still think he has an outside shot at getting it, but from all indications, Jimbo Fisher is now the guy. But you kind of question that his agent Jimmy Sexton kind of played Florida State like a fiddle last year. Got Jimbo Fisher a good contract. Mm-hmm. Is that what's happening again? It's not. You don't find many coaches that have won a national championship somewhere that have left to go to another school. Nick Saban left LSU after he won a national championship, but he did it to go to the NFL and then came back. Yes. Seldom do you see a coach that has won a national championship out of school move on to another school.
I don't think Jimbo Fisher comes to LSU. I think because of the heat from the fan base that you can get. And, it's the SEC compared to the ACC.
Yeah. And now you got Charlie Strong from reports this morning that he's being fired by Texas. And it looks as though Tom Herman, the coach at Houston, is the big time favorite. It'll be a shock if he doesn't get the Texas job.
That'll be very interesting, which obviously would take him out of contention for the LSU job because there was talk about him going there. So interesting how that falls out. All right, we do need to talk about the Raging Cajuns. Unfortunately, they lost this weekend. They went up against a traditional SEC power in the Georgia Bulldogs. 35-21, a lot of turnovers early. A lot of big plays ended up going against them. But the Cajuns ended up able to move the ball, ended up making an interesting showing. What do you make overall of their showing against Georgia?
Well, I thought that the Cajuns had a fighting chance. Mm-hmm. If they played basically perfect football, and they didn't do that. Georgia scores on the opening drive of the game, and then they return a punt for a touchdown. So it's 14-0 early. Yeah. And then the Cajuns, 3 interceptions, that's not good. They fumbled it once. Now you can't play takeaway, which is why Georgia won the football game. But I'm just saying, if you take away the punt return for a touchdown and you take away the turnovers, it could have been a whole different story. That's how the Cajuns could have won, is if they would have basically played perfect football. Made a good accounting for themselves, especially after the first quarter. But that was a game that not a whole lot of people expected the Cajuns to win anyway. Now they're 4-6. Still got an opportunity to be bowl eligible. Home finale Saturday against Arkansas State, a team that drilled Troy Thursday night, 35-3. I'm not shocked that Arkansas State won the game. I am shocked by the relative ease that they won it by 35.
Was it in Jonesboro, though?
No, in Troy.
Whoa, okay.
And you're talking about a team in Arkansas State that lost their first 4 games of the year, all of non-conference, and since they got in the conference, play 6-0.
All right, so that'll wrap it up. Cajuns, Tigers, and Saints. All right. Saints taking on the Rams. Yeah, oh my. Saints taking on the Rams. I'm very much looking forward to that game, Steve. And, of course, LSU Thanksgiving Day against Texas A&M is going to be a lot of fun as well. Yeah,
LSU, Texas A&M, the Cajuns, Arkansas State on Saturday, Saints and Rams on Sunday.
Cannot wait. All right, Steve, we appreciate it as always.
Been your pleasure.
Yes, it has.